Hi, this is Hanch. It was so nice to once again take a trip with Gaijin around Tokyo. During the visit of Gaijin, we visited so many places. Under some intense heat, I was so sorry for him. One of the most interesting one is a temple named Sogenji at the very center of Tokyo. This place has a tombstone of famous samurai, Hattori Hanzo. I guess many people recognize him as a badass ninja. I totally understand it, because in video games or any other fictional works, people tend to describe him as a well-seasoned ninja. Something typical in Japan too. It indeed is a fact that he was ninja in real life, but he's more renowned for his mastery of spear. Actually, this temple keeps one of his belongings. Not a shuriken, not a kunai, and not a samurai, and not a ninja katana. It's his spear, bestowed by his master and the first shogun of Tokugawa shogunate, Ieyasu Tokugawa. It just like to show his mastery in spear. Originally, it was about 12 foot long. Back in this time, 16th century, the average height of the Japanese was like 5 feet and 2 inches. He must have felt like, oh, this is so long. Now it's gotten shorter, sadly, partly because of a fire that burned nearly half of its handle. Also, tip of the blade is lost too. Still, it's like 5 feet long, and it's amazing to see a relic like this remains. When I saw this, one thing came to my mind was a Japanese saying, Bugei Ju Happan. Literally, it means 100 kind of martial arts. And of course, it's a metaphor. It refers to various kind of martial arts, and it was an honor of a samurai to master these different arts instead of just one or two. Hanzo practiced ninjutsu and was famous spear master. This indeed is what it says. Which in turn, samurais were expected to learn many kinds of martial arts. Yet they are not just a sword master. Hanzo lived through Sengoku period in 16th century. After that, in Edo period, this idea was materialized into what's called Bugei Ju Happan, or 18 martial arts. It indeed has 18 different arts to practice. Although what's included differs according to period or reiko. As you take a look, you learn what it would take to become an honorable samurai other than learning sword arts. So here I pick some of the most notable ones among the 18 arts and tell you a bit about it. Kyujutsu. Japanese archery is one of the oldest forms of martial arts in Japan. Origin of Japanese bow date back as early as prehistoric age, and ritualistic manners and philosophical aspect of Japanese archery were already apparent at the late 7th century. Mounted archery was the most prevalent. People practiced it not just for rituals, but record says it was also a means of dueling in the Middle Age. It was a major weapon in the war until early 14th century, and it became pretty much obsolete in 16th century due to introduction of firearms. But it's remained a popular martial art, not for fighting, but for self-cultivation. Bajutsu. Bajutsu, or horseback riding, is one of the privileges of samurais. In fact, it was forbidden for anybody other than samurai to ride a horse until 1871. So it was an icon of samurais. Horseback weapons underwent several changes over time. By the end of 12th century, it was mostly associated to horseback archery. After that, close quarters tactics started to become popular. It is basically tackle and grapple your enemy on the horse to pull him down and kill him afterward. By 14th century, naginata became one of the predominant horseback weapons in Japan. During Sengoku period, in 16th century, spear took over the position. Naginata jutsu. Naginata is a kind of pole weapon with a warped blade at the tip. You can slash, stab, even hit your enemy with the butt and the handle, and use it both on foot or horseback, so it's powerful and versatile. Some even claims it was one of the most powerful weapons in 14th and 15th century. Being an outlaw samurai, It was also popular among women back in time, and nowadays known more for martial arts for female. Sojutsu. Spear in Japan wasn't really developed until 14th century, and it was started as a weapon for ashigaru. Ashigaru is an infantry who fights under the command of the samurai, and was considered to be a lesser class than samurai. So at first, samurais were like, okay, this totally is not for us. But starting from the late 15th century, samurais began adapting. Afterward, it quickly evolved in terms of its shape and the art itself. Eventually, it became one of the most popular weapons in the battlefield, as well as one of the icons of samurai. Jitte-jutsu. Jitte is a pattern with a hook. You can hit with it, as well as catching enemy's blade and break it in half. Despite that the art was developed around 15th century, nowadays it is most known as belonging of yoriki and doshi, basically police officers in Edo period. For the law enforcement at that time, jittes were also for identification as a government official. In TV shows and movies, they typically carry it like katana. In reality, they put it in chest pockets so as not to be stolen, or to sometimes hide their identities during undercover missions. Fundo kusari. Fundo kusari, literally a chain weights. So obvious, it's two weights tied each other with a chain. Despite being a single art, its length and shape varies dramatically according to each style. Some are short concealed weapons for close-range combat. Others are as long as 6 feet for capturing a person from a distance. Hojutsu. Hojutsu, or the art of gunnery, was also a must-have for samurais. Not just during the Sengoku period when guns roared in the battlefield nationwide. The art evolved and grew tremendously during Edo period. At that time, samurais invented the art of odeppo, a handheld cannon in addition to basic muskets. At the peak, there are 400 different styles of the art. Tokugawa shogunate seemed to be eager to develop it. As early as 19th century, before Japan opened its border, were the Western gunnery tactics introduced to Japan and soon became widespread. Now the Japanese style of Hojutsu is practiced as a form of ceremonial art, and you can actually watch the artists perform blank shot at festivals across Japan. Suijutsu. It's basically swimming, but not just swimming. It's all about fighting underwater. It includes swimming with samurai armors on, close-range combat underwater, and even shooting guns while treading water. Some extreme style teaches the way to swim while your limbs tight. Just to name a few, but I got so many of them. Nowadays, these arts are sometimes called kobujutsu, or old-style martial arts, to distinguish more modern way of like kendo, judo, aikido, and such. People now practice them for self-cultivation, physical training, and preservation for tradition and culture. Samurais were now normal, but their spirit still stays on in different forms. I'm glad you watched my video this far, and thank you for watching, and Hutch signing out.